Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of Love is Blind Season 6, Episodes 1-5. My name is Wah. If you're new to my channel, I do recaps of relationship reality TV, such as Love After Lockup, 90 Day Fiancé, Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, and Seeking Sister Wife. So if you are at all interested in that content, please go on ahead and subscribe to my channel. If at any time during this recap you get the hee ha-has and you want to give your girl a tip, you can do so with the methods listed below. For my international girlies, if you don't have these options, you can just go a couple of places over from the thumbs up and you can give me a thanks. And hello. I want you to know that I had to go back and listen to my old videos to know what my intro was and then practice it. So I hope I did a good job. So as I said, today we are talking about Love is Blind. I started binging it last night and then I fell asleep and then I woke up this morning and I tried to like rewatch it with the same energy and gusto. But by then I was just like, girl, she's tired. She was tired. So let me pull up my notas that I took, and it's probably going to be pretty organized up until about episode 2. And then after that, we're just going to go off the cuff. Oh, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Oh my God. I'm so Baba Baby Blanky Blanket, Mazcat, Charlene, Becca, Amy, Connie, Emily. Hello, everybody. Living Queen. I missed you guys. Quasi. Hey, girl. Hey. I missed you guys. I truly, truly did. But let's jump into this. Okay. So we are now in season 6, and I think I did season 1, 2, 3. Maybe I skipped 3 and did 4 of Love is Blind. I know I for sure skipped season 5, but I did watch it, and those recaps are on my podcast, DocuSweeties, if you want to check that out. But I decided to come back and do this season with you guys, and also Seeking Sister Wife is coming back, so I'll be doing that on the channel as well. I'll try to sneak in some 90 Day Fiancé stuff, but she's gonna do her best. Okay. Wow. What an emotional roller coaster it's been so far. It's really interesting how the show has changed because there's so many people who have come onto this thinking that, oh, I'm never going to find somebody. Every couple that gets together, one of the two says, I didn't even think I was going to find anybody. So why'd you come? And I'm going to tell you, I do love the fact that majority of these folks are in their 30s. I mean, they're young 30s, but they're in their 30s. So it makes me just feel a little bit more comfortable when someone says that, hey, I'm ready to be married. Not to say that Kenneth isn't ready to be married. And no, this is one of his complaints in life, is that he's always having to explain what he wants. The fact that I guess he wants such adult things at such a young age that people are always questioning him. But, I'm not trying to upset him. Okay, so we start off with immediately is the baddie. Okay, I have never. I cannot tell you that dark skin representation is just giving me all of the feels. Okay, I mean all of it, all of it. I mean the front of her hair is bothering me. I wish that Desiree, Amber Desiree, or AD, or All Day as we know her to be, 33, real estate broker / cheerleader, a body yaddy yaddy. She gives me hope. Like she built her butt in the gym. You know what I mean? Some of it's genetics, but some of it was built in the gym. And your girl has hope to possibly go to the gym and build something as stackable as that, as lofty, as thick. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so immediately love. Like I can't get enough. I can't believe she's like the star of the season. And I'm here for it. I'm here for her. I'm here for it. So we have her. Then we've got Chelsea, who is an interesting character that we talk with a lot. I can't find her. Oh, here it is. I'm looking at the picture when I don't have to. Chelsea is a flight attendant event planner. She mentions in here that in her flight attending school, she's one of the only people to like not have a 4-year degree, which we need representation for everybody. Representation matters. She's giving redhead vibes, but she's chosen to go a dark auburn. She's got some insecurities, and sometimes it gets in the way, and we wish that it didn't get in her way. And then we've got Jessica. Jessica is 29 years old. Mama is painted to the gods. I wanted her to get to the next round, like to the vacation point, just so that I can see her without makeup, because I was like, what does it look like? But she's got a 10-year-old daughter, which is causing a lot of issues for her. Then we've got Laura. Now, Laura is a troublemaker. It isn't evident, like totally, but I feel like she's a troublemaker. She is a pot stirrer. Also, looking at her face, I'm like, you look like a brunette to me. Something in her face gives off brunette vibes. Not that I'm not loving this blonde, and if this is all her natural, like it's thick and luxurious. I love it. Then we've got Sarah Ann, who is a supplementary character, but we know is going to end up coming back in like episode 7 or 8, because a man had to choose between her and Laura, and it was hard for him. And you know how these men get, and they get in here and they see the person that they got. They start to think about the person that they didn't choose. Then we've got Brittany. Brittany's cute little bean, very Southern, a very Jesus. I love Jesus. Let him take the wheels. Then we've got Alejandra. Now, I don't recall us talking to Alejandra at all, but Alejandra is 80s girl, okay? 80 is always coming back into the space talking to Alejandra, and I want to know more about her. She is so cute, and I'm so bummed that we didn't get to see like who she matched with, or I don't know. I just wanted to know more about her. Okay, starting with the men. Now we're going to go to the men. I'm sure I skipped over some women. We've got Matthew. Matthew has problems. We've got Kenneth. Kenneth loves the Lord, and he is 26, and he is a principal, middle school, which is like, Lord. I mean, I've never seen such a young principal. 1, 2, did he like fast track? Did he take like go to principal school? Was he even a teacher first? And also like middle school? Oh, it was the worst time for me. I imagine they're the worst kids. Now we've got Jeremy. Jeremy is an intralogistics, whatever that means. But Jeremy has homes, and he's not afraid to tell everyone that he has homes. And listen, we love a man with real estate, don't we? We love a man who was able to like get it done. We love it. Then we've got Trevor. Trevor says that people look at him and think that he has low IQ, and he's a project manager, and he's like he gives lumberjack vibes. I mean, not to say that I could imagine him splitting woods like our good friend Thor from TikTok, but like, I mean, giving big man vibes. We are here for it. Then we've got Jimmy. Now, Jimmy is the first guy that I've seen on this show who isn't conventionally beautiful. But we'll get back to him. And then we've got Clay. Clay, the choker reminds me of Dennis Rodman. He gives me like Rodman vibes, and I do not know why. Then we have Johnny. Johnny is so boring, and he's with this person named Amy, who's also boring, and they just like, they bored the hell out of me. Okay, so we have a conversation between Trevor and Chelsea where they talk about what a perfect day for them looks like. Trevor's like a sunny day and like all the cliche things. And Chelsea's like Coors Light. I would like a cold Coors Light. And I don't know that life. I was like, Coors Light? I don't like, it's like people who drink Bud Light to me. I'm like, does it taste good? Because the last time I had a Bud Light, it did not taste good. It just tastes like watery wheat. So, fine. Then we've got Matthew. Now, Matthew is a little eclectic. He said that he is in therapy now, and his therapist was really concerned about him coming onto this show. And so we're all we. So we are all very concerned because something is wrong with Matthew, you guys. He's got some kind of like social issues, and he treated this whole process like it was on an interview, like he was interviewing these women to be with him. He also is very aware of what his image looks like to the cameras, and also not smart. Like there's something about him that is just socially he doesn't have the skill set because he's so rude to these girls in the beginning. I mean, he's so like literally Sarah Ann is talking to him in one of the segments and he asks her a question. No, no, no. First of all, he has a list of questions and he comes in and he's like, I have a list of questions. So if you could just pick a number between 1 through 15, I'll ask you the question. And so the girl's like, okay. And so he asks the question and Sarah Ann proceeds to tell him the answer. And he gets up and he walks out of the pod on her. So rude. So rude. Okay. And so his first interaction with AD is a little awkward, but AD, Amber Desiree, is just like pushing through it and she's going to give it back to him just as much as he gives it to her. And I guess that made him feel comfortable. And so he starts to kind of talk with her. But then he also talks about being a C-list celebrity. I was like, baby, you mean D-list? You mean E-list? C-list? Love is Blind? Oh, no, no, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Celebrity? I just need the definition of celebrity, for him. So he ends up making the connection with AD, and she's just, like, willing to get to know this awkward man that she, is talking through a screen. We talk more about AD, and she's like, "I'm used to dating players and ballers and athletes, and, so this is different for me because I wanna go out of my norm." And I'm like, do you mean like ballers as in ballers or little ballers who are balling? You know what I mean? I'm so happy for her life. Good for her. Um, so then we move on to Clay, and AD and Clay have a conversation in which Clay is like cool, calm, and collected. He's going to be suave, this like super cool black man. And AD says that he is normally her type, but she's trying to go outside of that. But then he talks about wanting a cat. He's like, "Oh, I really want a cat." And she's like, "Absolutely not. I'm scared of cats." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I want a cat because they don't need love all the time. They don't need love all the time." I mean, and listen, what a great reason to want a cat, right? But then it also makes you think, would you not be a good partner because you can't handle somebody who would want love all the time? I'm just wondering. We're all just wondering. Okay. So then we've got a scene from episode 2 where Jeremy talks about needing somebody who has a big personality. And it's because he says he has a big personality. Remember Jeremy, the one who's into intralogistics, whatever that means, owns real estate. And so he's just like having a great time because right now he's bouncing between 2 women. So he enters the pod and Laura is already in the pod and she's like, "Hi." And he's like, let me guess, let me guess." And she's like, "Sarah." And Laura's like, "No." And he's like, "Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding." I mean, Laura. And then they go on to have a good conversation where he talks about owning Hawaiian shirts. And she's like, "What's up with that?" And he's just like, "I really just fuck with Hawaiian shirts." And she's like, "I'm going to have to fix that." And then they also talk about the fact that he wears Henley shirts, which I don't know what that means, but that must be the brand because he has a thick neck. No one fights like Gaston. No one bites like Gaston. In a wrestling match, nobody. Oh, I said the words wrong. Kites like Gaston. I mean, like, whenever I think of somebody with a thick neck, I think of Gaston. Do we not all? So, so then Jeremy and Laura continue talking about some of their pet peeves. Laura mentions how she's had to break up with men because of cleanliness. And he's like, "Baby, I've got 2 Roombas. My apartment is spotless." I'm like, should I get a Roomba? I should get a Roomba. And so we have another scene where Jeremy then goes in and talks with Sarah Ann. And he's just like, oh my God, I messed up. I called someone else your name earlier. And of course, she's like, hee, like, whatever. And so then they start talking about what their perfect weekend is. And it's so cliche. It's like, maybe we'll get up, have a late breakfast, go work out, like go for a walk, and then run errands together. And they are so giddy with each other about the prospects of possibly running errands together. I was like, oh, I didn't know that that was a thing that people were like, oh my God, would you run errands with me? I mean, listen, it is fun. I love running errands with people, but I never would have thought like that would be something to be, I just wouldn't know to say that. I haven't experienced it. Have I? Have I experienced running errand with a significant other or someone I'm dating, running errands? No, I haven't. Mainly because when I'm running errands, I like to have my headphones on and be in my own world and not have anybody bother me or slow me down because I got shit to do. Okay, that's my Libra talking. So it's a little bit awkward, but they kind of move on from there and have an amazing time talking to each other. So for me personally, um, Amy and Johnny are getting really close, but they are so boring to me. They're the most boring couple. Her eyeliner might be the most interesting thing about her is the eyeliner, but like very boring otherwise. Like this couple, and it's just like maybe it's because they're just like genuinely falling in love, and we're past that now in Love Is Blind. Like I don't need that. I just want like kind of drama and stuff like that. So maybe that's why they're so boring to me, but they're just so boring. We find out that Amy has a brother who has ADHD and autism. So she says that she needs somebody who values family because if anything were to happen to him, she would be next in line to take care of him. Johnny's like, I'm aboard. Choo choo. I'm ready for that train. So then we have something happen. Now, there's another girl named Amber whose picture I didn't take. But Amber is in a love triangle with AD, who's also Amber. So 2 Ambers and a Matthew. Okay. Where Matthew tries to double his odds and he tells these 2 women the exact same thing. 1, I wouldn't want to marry you until I can speak to your father. 2, if we could just get up and run away from here, I would just take you and run away. 3, what else did he say? Like, if it's not you, it's nobody else. And then he says one other thing that's like the same thing. I can't remember what that detail is, right? And so then AD is with her homegirl, Alejandra, and she's listening to Laura, who comes in and is like, oh my, Amy, the other Amy, Amber, sorry, girls too many Laura, Amy's, and Ambers. The other Amber, whose picture I didn't take, and is like, Amber comes in, she's like, oh my God, Matt just told me that he wanted to talk to my father, and that if it's just me and him, and like basically coming in and telling the girls how reassured she was by Matthew. Literally the day before, Matthew told AD the exact same thing, the exact same lines verbatim. And AD is just like sitting there like, she doesn't tell Amber immediately that she had the same experience. She's like, oh my God, girl, that what? Girl, that's crazy, girl. Oh my God. And then she has to go run and tell her homegirl Alejandra what has happened and how Matthew is trying to make an absolute fool out of her. And she's not having it. She's like, I deal with fools on the outside all the time. I didn't come to Love Is Blind for that foolish behavior. She said, no, I'm not here for the foolery. The tomfoolery. I'm not here for the John foolery. I'm not here for anyone's foolery. And so then so then AD goes in and has a little chat with Matthew and calls him out on it. And he tries to backpedal and like stumble all over his words. And he's like, humana. I didn't say that. And we're like, yeah, you did. Now, here's the thing. I wish the producers had just like shown us the footage. I was kind of annoyed that they allowed Laura to walk in and just say it. I wanted them to show it to us so that we as an audience could be like, I wanted them to show the parallels of him saying the exact, I wish they would have cut it together in that way to show us the exact situation, right? So that we could see it with our own eyeballs that it happened. So that when AD goes in and has a conversation with him and she tries to play a little like slow at the beginning, she's like, oh, I'm having an okay day. And he's like, why? He's all excited, right? And then she's like, because I'm thinking that you said almost the same thing to someone else that you said to me. And he's like, you mean Amber? And she's like, yes, the other Amber, the not AD Amber. And he's like, I didn't say that to her. And all I feel like she plays it really calm because like all she has to say is, yeah, you did. She came in. I didn't tell anybody what you said to me. And she came in and literally said everything that you just said to me. So like like you're lying to me right now. So I need you to be honest. Hmm? Can you be honest? And he's just like, well, I mean, I really wanted to be with you, but like you're dating other people too. So I'm dating other people. And she's like, it's not about us dating other people. It's you, it's about you literally saying the verbatim, like if it's no one else but you. And I want to talk to your dad. Like you're saying these things to get me to love you when you don't feel just that to me. You were saying this exact same line to other people. And he okay, well, I'd love to give you that moment of a ring on your finger. It would be the greatest time of your life. I'm like, dude, are you pitching like a sales to like a company? Like this is another person. Don't try to bait her and get her to like you because you are gonna have a vague promise of a TV engagement. It's weird. It's weird. And he's like, also, yeah, I kind of said the same things, but like I was much deeper with you. Like, for instance, I didn't tell her that I wanted to get up and call my mom. I told you that I wanted to get up and call my mom. It's like, okay, Matthew, that's such a great difference. So like he just throws it all at her. And at this time, 80's like, mm, not so much. So then this is now the second disappointing conversation that AD has had because now AD had another conversation earlier with Clay where Clay and her are getting along, they're vibing, they have the VBS. And then he's like, honestly, I know I came on a show called Love is Blind and we're not supposed to see the other person, but the truth is like, I don't really believe in that. And honestly, I don't know that I could ever propose to anybody if I didn't know what they look like. So I need to know what you look like, basically. And AD's like, no, no, I'm not gonna tell you what I look like. I'm not gonna I'm sorry. This grow up. You came onto a show called Love is Blind and then you want to break that. No, that's not what's gonna occur on today. Occur. And so she ends up going back and telling her homegirl Alejandra. Again, I want to see Alejandra because she's beautiful and cute. Alejandra, like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell him, you know, brown eyes, thick thighs, and you 5'5". And I was like, oh, these are all true about you. She's like, I'm not gonna go tell him that. And so then when she speaks with him again, Clay, who gives me Dennis Rodman vibes, AD is like, so how are you doing? And he's like, I am so sorry that I said that to you yesterday. You know, I sometimes go back into my Clay isms and I came here to try something new and different. And I know this is a show about that. And so it was wrong for me to ask you what you looked like. He apologized to her. And she was like, okay, like I accept your apology. And then she proceeds to tell him that she just came out of a really like tough situation dealing with another man that she's dating here. Now, if that was the right move or the wrong move, I'll never know because I just didn't think it was bad for her to say any of that to him because that's how she was feeling in the moment. And he could have used that to his advantage, but he didn't. He got mad because all of a sudden he's like, who else are you talking to? Like, my ego can't handle this. Like, I thought I told you that I was into you. And now you want to sit here and tell me some woes that you're having with somebody else. Like, nah. And then he's like, well, who is it? Who am I in a love triangle with? And she was like, well, it's between you and Matthew. And he's like, Matthew, and he blows a gasket, like as though she can see Matthew and see how fucking weird he is in person and like the vibes that he's giving off in the men's like dormitory. everyone thinks Matthew is weird in the men's dormitory because he's just like walking around with his shoulders up and he's super quiet. So he's like, how are you with Matthew? Like, how am I even in the same race for the same woman? So he's now breaking down everything that he was thinking because she had a connection with Matthew, and he's not even listening to what Matthew did to her. So I don't know. I just feel like grow up. Grow up. But the thing is, though, I mean, and no shade to anybody in their 30s, but like he's only 30 and still 30-year-old people can be stupid, as we see with the case of what's his face from 90 Day Fiance with Sophie. What's his name? Rob. Rob is a pure idiot. So could you imagine a successful Rob? Yeah. If Rob was successful, if Rob actually had money and like cars and a home, he would be ridiculous. Anyways, but Clay, ridiculous. Clay is upset and she's just like, Clay, I'm just telling you how I feel. And he's just like, listen, I get it. You're telling me how you feel. I'm sorry that happened to you, but we'll talk again. We're cool right now, but I'm upset and like we'll talk later. And she's just like, okay. And so that ends that little conversation with them. I can't believe he's like, I've been giving you everything, and for you to even look at Matthew, like I'm still rocking with you, but see you later. That doesn't leave me with any kind of, okay, you're still rocking with me. Like I would be really concerned if I were 80 at this time. So I said Amber tells Laura. Who is Amber and who is Laura? Amber tells Laura. What does Amber tell Laura? I don't remember. Okay, so then we have a little cute scene with Brittany and Kenneth, where they talk about the love of the Lord, as well as they talk about wanting to have twins. And then, like, we find out that her mother is a twin, and I was just like, girl, are you asking him in case your body drops 2 ovaries? Or are you asking him because you want to get IVF so that you can have twins? More power to you, whatever you want to do. But I thought it was just really interesting that she was like, we're gonna have twins. So they're getting to know each other. They talk about their parents, and we find out that her parents were both drug addicts, and she had a really difficult life growing up, and that they both are tired of having to explain who they are, I guess, because they both grew up really, really young because they had parents die at a young age. And so they're just in a different place in their 20s than most people in their 20s. So then we have more scenes where Jimmy and Chelsea grow closer. And Jimmy is another hard one. Like Jimmy, he cares about looks, I think, or he's just, no, not that he cares about looks. He's really bad at communication. He's really bad at explaining himself. He says that he is not used to women who are forward. He doesn't like to have those hard conversations like immediately. And so it's really hard for him when Jessica drops the bomb that she has a 10-year-old daughter. Like Jimmy just never considered that he'd be on a show where there would be someone who's his age who has a child. And he's just like, I don't know if I'm ready to be a parent. And so he doesn't assure Jessica that everything's good after Jessica tells him, even though they've had great conversation up to this, that it really drives him towards Chelsea because Chelsea doesn't have that. And even when he talks to Chelsea, he goes in there and he tells her something about his conversation with Jessica, and Chelsea ends up crying and leaving because he like can't have the conversation. And she's very sensitive, just this Chelsea. Like Chelsea has some kind of trauma where she's used to men not wanting her versus somebody else, even though she's fully been married. She got married when she was like 17 or 18 and it lasted for 5 years, but they kind of dwindled. And there's no drama between them. And so yeah, it's just really evident. There's something about her. Then like Jimmy and Jessica have a conversation about their childhood. We find out that Jimmy, he's the first person in his family, both sides, to like go to college. And it wasn't enforced upon him. In fact, he did it in spite of his family. And even then they were like making fun of him until they were like, finally they told him they were proud of him for going to college and whatnot. And so then we talk about Jessica, who was in foster care because she too had issues with her parents being on drugs and them not being able to take care of her, and her adoptive mother adopting her, but then she getting pregnant at 16 and having a child at 17 is like a whole thing, right? So we have that moment and they're like, oh, we like each other, bonding. So then we come back for AD and Matt. They have a third conversation, even after the conversation where she calls him out on his BS. And he's like, I'm really sad because Amber left and that was because of me, right? And AD's like, how audacious of you to just think that that is for you. And he's like, well, I know America's on my side. And she's just like, I'm not here for the cameras or America. I'm here for this. And he's like, well, I know that they've got to be. And it's like, boy, they're not on your side. Why would they be on your side? You're like a crazy person. You are a crazy robot machine person. And so finally, AD is like, I can't do this. I can't deal with you right now. And like, you're not giving me what I want. So I'm out. So then we have episode 3 where Amy and Johnny meet. So Amy is the boring couple. Amy and Johnny, here, let me go back to the pictures for Amy and Johnny meet. I think that Amy has a beautiful like gold dress with a black slip underneath it. They're really cute. They're into each other. They're hugging on the couch. And so it seems like a good match. Again, boring snooze fest 2024. And then we've got a scene where Laura tells us how she picks up men in bars, like the different things that she does, like pretending to drop something and hoping that he picks it up so that they can talk. And then one of her last techniques that she says works really good is to be in a bar, just staring at a man, like. And then she says, if they look away and then look back, you got them. And I'm like, oh girl, I can't. I can't, it's on me. I mean, we can make eyes, but I can't just stare at you. I'm just so worried about the sex being disappointing. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't be putting myself out there. And so she then talks about that, and it's a funny moment, but I'm glad it works for her. And then we've got a conversation in the men's dormitory between Clay and Dion. So Clay is this dude, and Dion I don't have a picture of because like really he doesn't come out of the dormitory. I didn't take a picture of him. But remember, Clay is now working on AD all day. Oh, Clay. And he's crying because he's like, I keep up this facade and it's really hard for me in here. Like, and then we've got a black man on black man allowing each other to cry. I felt it and I loved it. And so it was a really, really sweet moment. And then that prompts Clay to be able to go in and talk to AD and have all of his ducks in a row. He comes back into her, apologizes again. And he's like, I've been on an emotional roller coaster. And I just felt like whatever I was doing was not enough. And it's like, if you knew Matthew, if you knew him for real to see how he is, like you would be concerned as well. And I was like, yeah. But I think AD is just picking up. She's like, I'm not here to be made a fool of. And Matt is trying to make a fool of me. And I'm not cool with that. So once she found that out, like there was no having her go back to Matt. And so then we get another scene with Kenneth and Brittany, and Brittany's real hungry. She walks in, there's twinkling lights. I think there's flowers, there's a salad. And so they have a good conversation where she's like, what's your family's ethnicity? And he's like, Black. And I was like, Black is not an ethnicity, my friend. Whatever. But she's like, that's what I thought. And I'm like, why didn't you just ask him? Why didn't you just say, hey, are you Black? She's like, what's your family's ethnicity? What if he was like Igbo? You know what I mean? What if he just said like Garifuna? Then what would she have done from there, right? Ask the right questions. So they have a good old conversation, and I believe this is the episode that he gets on bended knee and asks her to marry. Now we find out that he's never dated outside of his race, and so this is going to be a huge thing for him. But he finds such a connection with her, and the truth is, I think that their relationship is more likely to last simply because it's like they have two things that are good that help people, like I think in relationships, but then they have the one big thing, right? Is the fact of the race, and he, you know, being with somebody that he would never see himself with. And I think there is a conversation that needs to be had, especially with Black people marrying outside of the race and what that means in this country. And with, especially if it's a white person, what that means in this country, and how about how you raise your kids and such, and, you know, whatever, right? And so it's a big deal, but he's taking it. I think that because they have the same, they're around the same age, they have the same goals, and they have the Lord Jesus to keep them together. I think it's really important to have two things that bond you, and nothing bonds people together if they believe that a deity brought them together, right? And so I think that they have the most chance of being successful. And I'm actually rooting for them because I think that they are very clear and intentional in what they're doing in this process. It seems to be at this, from this point, the most healthy. So happy for them in that regards. Then we have more people getting together. So let's go down back to the couples. We ended up having Jimmy have this tearful like breakup with Jessica, and he then chooses Chelsea. And then we've got Chelsea, who's also dating Trevor, and Trevor has put all of his eggs in the Chelsea basket, right? And when she tells him that she's going for Jimmy, it really breaks old Trevor's heart. Like Trevor is like upset, and I'm like, tactically, if you know that someone in this pod situation is dating someone else, and then you have another person who's not dating someone and is only going for you, personally, I would go for the person who's only going for me. Just because I don't want that drama. And they're gonna have drama because when a man has two options, I fervently believe this. When for him and what he's, at least in this show, I'm not gonna say when a man, I'm gonna say within the context of Love is Blind, whenever the guy has two different choices and he picks one, I think number one, he always picks the wrong one. And number two, there's all, when this one is like getting on his nerves, or oh sorry, I didn't mean to flip you off. This one is getting on his nerves or kind of hard. He always is curious about this one. And the show is messy now. The show will bring back the other person. And so, like, to me, if you're going to be on Love is Blind in these latter seasons, you need to choose somebody who's really rocking with you so that when y'all go to the beach or whatever and then come back from the beach, that you don't have a situation where he's like thinking about somebody else and wanting to be with somebody else. Like, I can't have the Kwame, what's her name, Chelsea too? The Kwame Chelsea drama. Like, who wants that? Ugh, who wants that? Who wants to be like worried that the person doesn't like you? Okay. And then we're going back. So Trevor's little poor heart is broken. Jessica is pissed and fit to be tied, and she's crying. Now, let me tell you, Chelsea comes in and is like, oh my God, Jimmy says that he loves me. And Chelsea says this in front of Laura. And Laura's like, oh my God, that's so sweet. I'm so happy for you. And as soon as Chelsea gets up and walks away, Laura walks over to Jessica and is like, hey, you need to leave the show because I don't want anything bad to happen. I'm here to protect you at all costs. So leave the show. And I'm like, why leave the show? That seems like bad advice. Leave the show. I feel like if you leave the show, then you're not going to be brought back on again. So she tells her to leave the show because she's like, trust me, your guy is not your guy. And then Jessica's like, tell me, like, how'd you find this out? Is this just rumor? Did you hear it yourself? And Laura is trying to be like coy, and she's like, oh, I don't want to say where I got it from, but like, I'm just, trust me, just believe me, just trust me. And so then Jessica starts crying, and all the girls go around and hug her because she's just found out that Jimmy possibly isn't going to choose her. And then we've got Jeremy, who's bouncing between Sarah Ann and Laura. And I don't know how he ends up choosing Laura. Maybe it's because of her personality, but he sends Sarah Ann packing, and Sarah Ann is just like very upset about that as well. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of jumping around. It truthfully is. And Jimmy is like at the center of it when it comes to that. Really, Jimmy and Chelsea there's a lot happening with those two. And the same thing with Jeremy and Laura, truthfully. So when Jimmy actually sees Chelsea, though, it feels like he's not into her, and we don't quite know why. And Chelsea walks in with all of this like, I'm a bigger girl energy, so he may not be interested in me because I'm bigger. And I was like, did we not see a bad bitch, like a thick bad bitch, like Jewish woman? What was her name? Like 2 seasons ago? Like, girl, you're fine. You're fine. And so it was I love Chelsea's coloring, and I love the fact that it goes well with so much gold. It's like she's got a cute little tan. She's always highlighted to the gods. I mean, Chelsea is cute to me, but Chelsea definitely has insecurities. I mean, and it's hard to watch sometimes. Because you see her digging a hole for herself. So then we've got coupled with Laura and Jeremy. They see each other. They're very happy with each other. Did I mention that Jimmy was wearing women's deodorant? And then we've got Clay and AD. And Clay is like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. They're so happy. Hashtag Black love. And, Clay is like, oh my God, your body is great. And she's like, I know. So good for you for coming back and apologizing to me. Um, and so they have that moment where, they get engaged. And I really loved Chelsea's ring, though. Chelsea's ring was like a diamond with like gold. It was just like, it was so beautiful. Everything about it. And so we have this couple, Brittany and Kenneth, are really liking each other. And she loves the fact that he's tall and thick. And he's like, oh my God, you're beautiful. They're both wearing all black. He does the ring portion, and they seem really happy. The couple that doesn't seem the happiest is Jimmy and Chelsea, is what I gathered from that. So then we've got our couples, right? And now it's time to go off to Punta Cana. So now they're on a beach. They're in paradise now. And so the couples all have time by themselves, getting to know each other and spending time together. And it seems good on all fronts. I think they have one full day of like beach and like hang out where they don't see each other. So then where the drama comes in again is when they all meet up again. Okay. And so I think that before we talk about that, Brittany and Kenneth have a really sweet conversation about how they want to go to bed every night, where they want to check in with each other, make sure that they're good. And so they kind of have this cute moment, and she's like really relieved to be without her makeup. She looks like a different person, which is fine. And so I'm interested in seeing everybody without their makeup, but we don't see Laura without her makeup. And then we see Chelsea pretend to take her makeup off, but then she keeps on her lashes and her shadow. And then the next morning, it looks like she slept in it. So that's why I was feeling like she was a little insecure. I'm like, you don't think you're pretty enough to take off your makeup to go to sleep in? Uh-oh. So then we've got a cute little pool scene with Clay and AD, so many names, with Clay and AD. And it's cute because he's like really admiring of her body, but we find out that he doesn't know anything about like the actual ceremony of marriage, nor does he know anything about like if a man gets a ring or not. It was very interesting. So she's like explaining that to him, and they are just talking about wanting to let the facade go and really being open to love. And it feels like emotionally AD is going to have to pull this relationship because she's had therapy and he's not. I mean, she hasn't had enough therapy and he's had no therapy. So like she's really going to have to emotionally bring him through. And he really keeps saying that he wants someone who can do that for him. And I don't like that. But it's me because I'm in my 40s. I'm not interested in somebody that I have to help get there. I want someone who's already there. And so that's one of the concerns that I have about Clay, because I think when men rely on the woman that they're with to build them up and help them become more mature, that's not for me. That's not, yeah. Thank you, Becca. That's not for me. I cannot. Mm-mm. I can't live that life. I need you to already be there or want it for yourself and not because a partner is with you and makes you feel like maybe you should. Yeah. Uh, of course, Johnny and Amber or Amy, or whatever her name is, they're in like bliss, having a great time. Jeremy is trying to be goofy, but also at the same time annoying Laura. He's like blowing raspberries in her cheek and making fart sounds, and she gets upset about it. And I'm like, girl, at least he isn't actually doing it. Like sometimes you just gotta let people be, you know? So, um, they're just learning little things about each other in this portion. So they're all excited to meet the other couples, and they are having a fun time getting ready. And I already know there's about to be some drama, even though there shouldn't be, because no one that they're meeting they were what's how I say this? So you know how sometimes we get to these scenes and it's like, oh, I was dating this person in the pod and my current fiance person, and now I'm seeing this other person that I was dating and they're kind of hot. Like we didn't have that like Chelsea and Kwame situation, that awkward conversation. We didn't have that. Okay, none of these couples were dating each other, so there should be no problems. But Chelsea has a problem. Chelsea has a problem. So they get there and everyone's checking each other out, and everyone unanimously agrees that AD is body banging, that she body banging. And but the girls already knew this. And so I think Jimmy makes a comment. He's like, damn, she got a shelf or whatever, which I don't care if another man appreciates another woman's body. Like, I do not care. But would that make me feel some type of way? No. Because I think that I've got it going on, even though I've got this panza and these love handles. Like I'm still like, okay, like yes, she's got a shelf, and so Chelsea is immature too because Chelsea has to call it out. She's like, "Hey, AD, Jimmy likes your body," and so then Jimmy is not recognizing that that is Chelsea's way of getting through an awkward moment. He's thinking that she's like, "Yeah, cool. Yeah, she does have a banging body." And so then AD and Jimmy goes and talks to AD, and Clay walks away because that's what they're there to do, to talk to each other. And so while they're having a conversation, I think he grabs her hand, and I don't see him spin her around. But Chelsea says that she does, that he spins AD around to check her out. And that blows Chelsea's mind. She goes into a spin-off trajectory where she can't get out of it. She cannot get out of it, you guys. She is now staying away from Jimmy and just wanting him to go to her. He thinks that he's done enough to secure her and to make her secure, and he thinks that she's talking to the other girls and gals as well. But at least from what we're seeing, at least what the cameras are showed to us, what we're showed to in this edit, it doesn't seem like she's talking to any other guys. And she's just purposefully standing away from Jimmy, waiting for him to come to her to check on her if she's okay. So it feels childish to me, because she's now like upset at him and he has no idea. So we have a little scene where three of the girls are hanging out. I think it's Amy, it's Laura, and it's Chelsea. And then Jimmy comes over to sit with them and say hi to them. And then he turns to Becca. He's like, everything's good. And she's like, yeah. But again, she's lying because she's not okay. And then she proceeds to talk shit about him as he walks away and goes and talks to other people. Again, annoying. And then we've got a good conversation between AD and Jimmy, where they don't talk really much about anything that I found to be inappropriate. We do have an inappropriate moment though, because someone is making comments about, again, AD's body. Now, I don't want to judge it because I can imagine that you're in a scenario like with other women and you're talking about bodies and you're complimenting somebody, but at this point it becomes not it's not objectifying, but it feels like it might be. And so Laura says something about bean dip, which I'm like, who made up that terminology? Which I guess is when you like slap a tita down and slap a tita up. And so she makes a comment to Jeremy about possibly doing it. And then that feels like sexual assault at this point. Like, she makes a comment to Jeremy in private about it, about bean dipping AD. And I don't know what the context was in which they started having this conversation back in their hotel. But then while like Clay, Jeremy, and Jimmy are sitting out somewhere, Amber comes over to sit on her man's lap. AD, sorry. She comes over and sits on Clay's lap, right? And then Jeremy is like, yeah, Laura told me to bean dip you. And no one knows what that means because it's a stupid name for something to do. And we're like, what is that? And then AD is like, Laura, bean dip? Because Laura's like not too far away. So she screams it. And Laura's like, oh my gosh, like that. No, I was just kidding. And then they finally explain to Clay what bean dipping is. And Clay's like, "No, what are you guys talking about?" And they're all laughing about it, but it's awkward because it feels like Laura was like, "Hey, hey man, you should sexually assault this other person." Could you imagine just someone else coming up to some like I don't care what scenario we're having. I don't care how big my butt is. I don't care how perky my tetas are. Don't ever even allude to the fact that you might come and touch a part of my body. Not even touch it, but like slap it as a joke. That just I'm no longer a person. I'm a body at this point, and that's not cool. Okay? Now, speaking of not cool, Clay and AD are having a conversation not in this group setting, but by themselves when they're still on their own little journey. And he's like, "Yeah, you gotta keep your body right." And she's like and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, girl, you're getting, if you're getting out of shape, I'm gonna tell you." And now we go back to that immature shit again. Like, it is wild of you, if you guys have kids, to expect or even say to AD that she would have to then get her body right. Because what if she can't? And what if she doesn't? That is always gonna be in the back of her mind. I can't like, if a man were to tell me, like, that he wanted me to always be snatched for all of our relationship, that puts a lot of undue pressure onto me. And then I would grow some kind of neuroses, if that's the right word, about him worrying about my body, and then I'd be worried about no, no, no. I can't have that. No, 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 no. Anybody I'm dating, you need to take me as I am at every stage of where I might be. Do not tell me that you're going to encourage me nicely to go work out or to get back into the gym. There is going to be swaths of time where I will not be working out. And if I do want to and I want to get my body right, it's because I want to, not because I'm worried about my man looking at someone else if I don't. And that's what Clay is giving. And she doesn't know how to say it fully, but she's like, "Yeah, I'll still get my, she's like, I don't worry about like calorie, like what did she say? I don't eat useless calories," which listen, that is how you have that body. By doing lots of squats, as she said, which I'm like very hopeful that I could get there someday. But like that is her personal choice to have that body and to not waste calories, to not eat useless calories. Like I get it. This was a useless calorie, but I wanted a little you know what I mean? A little coffee, a little cafe, right? Sorry. It's a useless calorie. And I get that. But for someone else to be like, I'm going to be watching you, absolutely not. Absolutely freaking no. I'm like, girl, I need to get with sugar too. I'm about to be in the gym squatting. I would like listen, if she were to put out her squat routine, which I'm pretty sure people are asking her to, I should find her Instagram because I really need to know what the routine is. You know what I'm saying? Give me the routine, girl, and I will do it. She's like, no sugar. And I'm like, okay, you lost me at no sugar. But I was trying to do it for February. I am doing it for February though. I've lost 4 pounds so far. I'm so proud of myself. Anywho, Yeah, it was just wild that he had said that. He's just said some wild things, and he always has to end up walking. This is the fourth wild thing that he's said, Mr. Clay. So anyways, lots of talks about 80's body, which is now getting slightly uncomfortable. Then we've got Chelsea and Jimmy. We get back to their hotel, and Chelsea's crying because she's like, "You left me. I felt unloved and I felt unsupported. Everybody was with their person kissing and stuff, and I didn't get that." And he's like, he doesn't think he's wrong. And so he doesn't outright apologize to her. And she just is like, I want an apology. I want an apology. And it's just like this really awkward situation because he's getting frustrated with her because he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. And she's like, just apologize for it. And he's like, I'm sorry you were upset, which is not an apology. And so I just really hope that they can figure out how to speak to each other because she did tell all the girls that he had a big panga, that it was thick. And I want her to enjoy her time with that thick panga, you know? So, did you guys watch it? What did you think? Let's talk after I just finished talking nonstop for 50 minutes. Kids or no kids, women's bodies are ever changing. Speak that into yes, 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 yes. Jasmine says, oh, this is her Instagram. Way to find it. Thanks. Amber Desiree. Great. I'm gonna get on that roll right now. See if she's got a little Amber Desiree. Yep. Yep. Is her leave out better now? It's the same leave out. Give me a higher. Oh, yeah. That's what I wanted to tell you guys. Give me a higher love. Oh. So at the beginning of the episode, it's like Whitney Houston's Give me a higher love. Give me a high. Okay, where is it? I already followed her. I'm just looking for now for the squats. Come on, girl. Banging. Oh, she looks so great with braids. I need you to have braids again. I just don't understand. Like, listen, if I'm gonna go on a reality show, your girl's gonna have braids. I'm gonna have braids. I can't I don't have hair now to even do braids, but I would take a bunch of head wraps and braids. So, all right, no one's saying anything. Did you guys say everything while I was talking? Oh, thank you, Sarah. Yes, if you can give this video a thumbs up, that would be super, super helpful. Thank you for that. Give me a higher love. Oh, give me a higher love. Okay. Well, I was just gonna say I like her braids. Yeah, she looks better with braids. I didn't believe her when she said that about his peen. It seemed braggy to me, but maybe Jimmy has a big Jimmy. Listen, when he took off his pants to get into the bed with her, I would not believe he must be a grower. He's a grower, not a shower. So, what happened to Matthew? I hope he got lost. I don't know. He needs to get lost. They're gonna bring him back. I mean, we'll see him on the reunion, but he didn't get chosen. He was just crying. So good for him for being that way. But remember, he said he was going to go get Laura. What's her name? Was her name Laura? No, he said he was going to go get Amber. So he's planning on like reaching out to Amber afterwards. Dramatic. Movie dramatic. Right? Because I'm immature to be looking at you dumb. I'm not teaching you so you can be great to get the next person. Exactly. No. That's not my job. It's not my job to help you get to where you need to go. Chelsea seems a less frantic version of Danielle season 2. Who is Danielle season 2? Less frantic version of Danielle. I can't remember. Who that is. But it's a lot. It's a lot when they're like, "I need to know that you love me. I need to know that you're into me." And I get it. I get the need to know, to want to know that, but then to me, you need to then get out of it. Like, well, why won't they just take the steps to do what they have to do to protect themselves? So, if you're not feeling secure in it because he's not making you feel that way, then you have to, I think, be specific about what you want and then leave if you're not getting it. Instead of just being mad at him all the time. Like, who wants to just be with somebody who's mad at you all the time? I don't know. Well, the next series of shows are going to drop on the 21st, which is next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the 21st, is when the next episodes will drop. So we'll talk again probably on that Friday, the 23rd. The Wednesday. Yeah. What are you guys watching? Are you guys watching Traders? I'm watching Traders. I'm watching the 90 Days of the Fiancés. And Couples Therapy. What station is Couples Therapy on? Give me a higher love. Oh. Give me a higher love. Love Island and LOL. Peacock. Oh, I got Peacock. Okay, great. Thank you. Great. I could watch that. Okay, Couples Therapy. I'll start to watch it, and then we can talk about it next time I talk about Love is Blind. Okay, well, that is it, you guys. I thank you so much for joining me. Really had fun with you guys. Maybe we can talk about Traders next time as well. But Traders is really good, guys. And if you don't want to watch it, you should at least watch it for the hosts' outfits. Okay. For some reason, I can never remember that man's name, even though I know him and I love him. He's a lovely Scottish actor, and he's so talented. And he was in not Chicago. What's the other one that's not Chicago? Benvenuto. I can't think of it. Liza Minnelli was in it. The original. It takes place in Germany, around a war. Anyways, so he was in that, but his outfits are fucking fantastic. Scotland is so beautiful, and it's a bunch of celebrities and not celebrities, or ex reality show people, like people from Big Brother, people from The Challenge, people from The Real Housewives, people from Survivor, and they get into this house, and it's like Mafia. Did anybody ever play? Like, I'm a theater kid, so I played Mafia in high school and college, where it's basically a game where so Mafia is a card. You use cards in order to decide who is the traitor or who is the mafia member if you're in the mafia. And so you have to like systematically kill people when you're playing the game, and you do so by just talking your way through it. And I love it because anytime, I'm so good at it. But the show is just in that theme where every night they kill somebody, and then the faithful, the ones that are not traitors, the faithful, they are trying to guess who the traitors are, and it could be 2 or 3 people, and it's good. So you should check it out. Phaedra is actually really good at the game, but also I think because she's not really trying, she allows other people to maneuver around her and then cuts them deep when they do something they shouldn't do. But it's got She by Sheree on it too, and other housewives I do not know, and other people I don't know. So it's fun to watch. You should check it out. Yes, it's like Clue. Mm-hmm. It's like Clue in a way where you just wake up the next morning and the person's not there. But Phaedra has her whole entire glam squad there. Like, she's not alone. It's so funny. It's like you don't see half of the castle, but the other half of the castle is housing all of these celebrities and all of their glam squad. Because Phaedra looks done up the whole time. She's in furs and feathers, and it's really cute. So you'll have like someone like Sandra, who's just like a Survivor member, a person who won Survivor 10 years ago. And then you've got Phaedra, where like Sandra is like wearing her own clothes, not a stitch of makeup, looks like regular degular, and you've got Phaedra who looks like a fucking housewife, you know? It's just so funny. And they have little like games they have to do and like trials that they have to pass, and you'd be surprised at how bad some people are at them. So it's just interesting and it's fun. It's a fun gameplay. So watch it on Peacock if you're interested. Okay. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that you guys have a fantastic weekend. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. Give me a higher love. Oh, girl, me a higher love.